Okay, so this is element 22, internal walls. This is video 3 of the series. If you haven't already watched element 19 and 21, I recommend you do. And if you're completely new, I recommend that you watch the video about uploading drawings and setting up a project. For element 22, what we did is we copied and pasted our setup from element 21. So once we had our drawings inserted, ground floor plan, first floor plan, attic and side elevations, sections and details, and we'd scaled all those drawings, then we exited out of the program and copied and pasted over so that we saved ourselves a bit of time. I've also just pre-populated this here with the list. And again, depending on your project, you may have more or less items on the list. In this case, we just have the 5. So our blockwork measure, vertical area for 100 mil block and 215 blocks. So there's an example there in the shower. You can see the 100 mil block. You can tell visually that's a little bit skinnier of a wall than this one here. It's actually half the width. So your 100 mil block work, and then your 215 block walls there are around stairwells and supporting external walls over here between the sitting room and the playroom, and a couple of other random places. And we also have lintels and steels to go in as well. So let's just go ahead and start that measure. So I'm going to start with 100 mil blockwork walls. People do different things in terms of whether or not they prefer to go with getting all the walls done on the ground floor and then doing all the walls on the first floor. That's a matter of preference. So in other words, when some people like when they start the 100 mil, they stay with the 100 mil all the way through. For this, what I'll probably do is I'll probably stick with the view that's open. So rather than going from one plan to the next, I'll get all my walls done on one plan done, all my walls on the next plan done. Small change to make here in terms of the overall height, which is the vertical area. It's set for 2.7. We agreed there by looking at it that it's 2.8. I think I've showed you how to do that before to change the height. So you can go ahead and do that. If you haven't done it, have a quick look in the element 21 should show you how to do that. But here's the sections here in the passive house. You can see there's only about 100 mil of a difference in the floor to ceiling height. But it's important to get it reasonably accurate. So you can see there 2.7 from the floor slab to the underside of this ceiling here. Whereas if you go all the way up there, I think we measured it 2.8. Let's just very quickly do that there. Ground floor wall height. While I have the section here, I might as well do it to them. First floor. Save yourself a bit of messing later on. This is just a test function. I generally delete these tests afterwards. It's just a test height function that I have in there. It's telling me 2850. So 2.85 for the ground floor. And then the first floor is probably going to be closer to the 2.7 mark. Let's change that to length. So you see 2.625 plus this thickness. You can see how it extends up there. There's a false ceiling in both of these feature you'll see sometimes in passive houses. 2.8. Okay, so in both cases we're going to change it from to 2.85 and 2.8. And let's go ahead and look at our plans and just see, are we happy we've measured all of our blockwork there? 100 mil blockwork, is that 100 mil? Yeah, sorry, there's a little bit here. There's a little bit here, and there's a steel, and there's a bit of blockwork overhead. There's a kind of a pocket door in there, so let's just measure that. 100 mil blockwork as well. For the purposes of this as well, I'm going to measure through. I'm going to say there's different rules when it comes to measurement. Strictly speaking, if you're following the ARM, you're supposed to deducts the net area of all of the doors and openings and so on. Sometimes what people do is they'll agree on a site level with a subcontractor, a different method. So I showed you the correct method earlier on. This time I'm going to show you another method, which is that we just measure through the OPS. So follow your local guidance, get advice from your site manager as to which one you're going to do for the block layers on your job. To deduct the OPS, you simply multiply the width by the height and count up the number of doors, and you can take that off your measure. You can do that yourself. Okay, I'm going to stick with this one. I'm going to go straight to 215 block walls. I'm going to change the color from green to dark blue. And I'm going to go straight into that. And you can see the stairwells there. There's block walls there. And likewise, I know there's a head here, so I'm just going to measure through that head regardless, based on what I've just told you about the potential rules that people have. Sometimes that accounts for waste on a job. It accounts for additional labours for the block layer. Lots of different reasons why you might do that. Okay, so that's my two stated areas there. And if I X out of that, you'll see they're marked in blue and green. So blue for 215 and green for 100 with Blockwork. And I'm going to go straight to the first floor and finish that measure. I'll let you do that yourself, okay? So I'm going to let you do the first floor yourself. I'm just going to do a quick summary. You have to do some bit of work yourself, obviously. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to adjust your height. So your shape 1 there, your factor is should have been 2850. So I want to see if I hold the button Shift and press down, that highlights all of those 4 shapes. And when I go into my wall height, if I manually change this to 2850, that should manually update them all. And I can test that by escaping out of it, going back in here to another shape, for example, and then just double check that. That says 2850. If I click on shape 2, that says 2850. So it's useful to be able to just double check these things that it actually works. So that's after making that adjustment there. I'm going to let you make the adjustment for 215 yourselves, and I'm going to go straight to 100 mil concrete lintels. So 100 mil concrete lintels, in my openings, anywhere I have my 100 mil concrete wall, I have a concrete lintel, and it's the width of the door up plus 225 either side. So 225 is a half block. You'll sometimes see people talking about 150. It's not really going to be long enough because, sorry, you'll sometimes hear people talking about 150 mils. So 150 mil bearing on either side. It's not really going to be sufficient bearing, especially when you're building in Blockwork. We tend to work to Blockwork dimensions. So let's stick with our 215 on either side. So that's 450. So I've already checked my openings. My opening for this door is 900. My 450 on either side is 1350. So 1350 mil long, and that's my 100 mil Blockwork. I'm going to just bang that in there like so, and I'm going to go count. And again, in this case, I'm not providing a full solution. I'm just going to do the ground floor. You can do the first floor. If there's any in the first floor, change the color here to it's kind of lighty, kind of green. I'm just going to start banging these out. Bang. Not that many of them actually, because I'm seeing here these are all 225. So would you believe I actually just have the one? Okay, that's fine. And then do a corresponding measure for the first floor, and you can measure it in the same category. Just go to the first floor, click everywhere where there's a 100 mil block wall, and drive on. Do the same for the 215 concrete lintels. Insert your additional items where you need to. If you need to, insert them in there like so. I'm going to indent helps to create a heading. So I want to go 203 by 203, create a heading, do it that way. I'm going to state the length then in this case, for my 215, I've got a steel there, don't I? 203 by 203 by 46. So I'm going to measure up this steel here. And again, I'm going to allow 1939. I'm going to allow my 225 on either side. So let's just do a test length there. Test length. I don't even have to write in test length when I'm doing these. I can just do it. I get a bit quicker with these videos. So that's 1600. So 1600 plus 450 is 2050. So 2050 mil long. So I'm stating the length and I'm counting them. And I'm going to change my color of my count to, it was dark blue, so I'll go with dark purple. Just counting it up. And you can go ahead and check the length of the other ones and then count them up, etc., etc. Obviously, if you have a 900 rope, you can do what we did earlier on. So I can insert a little shape there, and I can give it the same description. That's if it's steel, but it's not. These are all concrete. That's okay. It's okay. Forget that. My steel. I have another one in there. So you could check that dimension there yourself and see what that's working out at. And then go up to the first floor. And that's pretty much it. So you're measuring your 100 mil block walls in vertical area. You're measuring your 215 block walls in vertical area. You're stating the dimensions of your 100 mil concrete lintels. You're stating the dimensions of your 215 concrete lintels. You're stating your dimensions of your 2030 by 203 by 46 kg UC steel lintels. In each case, you're estimating the length by getting the opening size and adding on 2 times 225, which is 450. That's it. So in each case, guys, what I'm looking for when you're finished is a screenshot of the finished measure plus your BuildSoft export. So if you watch 2 previous videos, you'll see how to do that. Okay, thank you. Bye.